That's ridiculous. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I need to get a spray bottle. Psst, psst, down.
It's not big, it's not clever, and it's not amusing.
No. And classical rebellion. Well, last time I started with a woo, and now I'm going to start with a ooh. The stretch of two great concerts in a row is over.
Yeah, I mean, this concert wasn't an entire failure, but it
no.
But it was
close.
It was an unevenly matched concert to begin with. I was wondering how is the Sibelius going to fit in with this peculiar Rachmaninoff?
Yeah,
and if they don't, they really don't go together at all.
Well, there's no through line here.
There is no through line. It's just this was a selection of different.
Maybe there is, and we're just not smart enough to discern it.
Well,
that's a possibility.
If there is, it wasn't lived up to in any event.
Yeah.
Because we started off with 10 minutes of pretentious claptrap, which seems to be par for the course with the San Diego Symphony's programming director. They seem to want to throw on these preludes, to fill out the first half of a concert with a concerto or something.
We need living conductor or composers.
Yeah, we
need living conductors too.
We definitely need living conductors for sure. No, but so we had the claptrap of the garages of the valley.
Yeah.
Which
had it to me. Go ahead.
And then we had the claptrap of the global warming 2050 or whatever, or 2150.
Both by Mason Bates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A fine master of the arts. Anyway, his brother Norman?
Master.
Norman Bates?
Master.
Mother.
Did you see the toy?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Master.
Yes, quite. Well, that was basically what was going on.
We're still in junior high at heart.
And and then we had the claptrap of whatever this was tonight, and it's just when there was probably enough. There was probably enough material in that 10-minute piece, enough various different motives and sectional work that if you simply didn't play it all at the same time, that you might actually have had like maybe a one movement symphony or something,
Right.
But as it was just 10 minutes of claptrap.
Yep. Yeah.
Just everybody playing everything at the same time with hardly a discernible feature in the thing.
Right. There is no ADHD medication for composition.
There ought to be.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I think there's something to that. The best composers control their ADHD and draw it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is just. Are we ever going to get like a rational overture? Maybe an overture on a theme. The thing that comes to mind is Ralph Vaughan Williams' Overture to the Wasps.
Mm-hmm.
It can be taken completely on its own,
right,
as an art piece, or it can be taken as an actual theater piece. But it's a rational composition. It's a wonderful, theme and development. And are we ever going to get that?
We might.
It doesn't have to be, strictly speaking, tonal. Look at Hindemith's overture to Mattis der Maler.
Right.
Now there's a great overture that is pretty can harmonically diffuse in many ways, but it's got such incredible structure. Yeah. Can we have some structure, please?
No.
Because this adolescent fixation on let's play with all the instruments of the orchestra at the same time.
Right.
Just there's Master Mason, where I'm trying to draw a conclusion here, as to what we're really getting at here. It's musical.
Yes. Self-gratification.
You supply the verb.
Right.
Come on,
man.
This is tiresome.
Yeah.
It's tiresome.
That
we were sitting next to a bunch of kids from some school. A bunch of
I felt so bad for those kids
who were bored to tears.
As was
They
I.
were absolutely bored to tears. Now, come on. You owe them better than that.
Yeah.
Give them some structure.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. People pay money for that crap.
Yeah. The symphony paid money for that. Huge orchestra. Do you know how many
Huge. There were more
services they
people
had to pay?
on the stage for that orchestra than there were for the Rachmaninoff, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I need to get a spray bottle. Psst, psst, down.
It's not big, it's not clever, and it's not amusing.
No, it's not.
And it's not rewarding
It's not
either.
even clever.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, so that...
Yeah.
Enough of that's
Well,
yet another installment of preliminary claptrap.
Yeah, I do want to say regarding Garages of the Valley, I did feel like it had at least some sense of there was something that was kind of going toward beauty, just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I thought that Wall of Voodoo's cut Mexican radio was better, because we get some Mexican music on the radio in the background coming out of the Garages of the Valley. Well, Wall of Voodoo had more rhythm to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sibelius Violin Concerto.
Sibelius Violin Concerto.
Was this your first go round live?
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was. So I'm taking it at face value. And I found it to be a very uneven piece. I mean, there's not a lot of interchange between it's the violin with the orchestra underneath it every now and again, and then like an orchestral splurge. And then of a motive, and then more more violin, and then another somewhat unrelated orchestral splurge. But the orchestration, he likes to use the contrabassoons and the lower woodwinds, and to get that meaty, warm feeling, which is because he's Finnish, so he's freezing most of the time, so he needs warmth. So he goes for it there. But then when like when the violins are playing in their lower octave at the same time, there's no sense of structural definition to the pyramid there. There's no peak to the sound, and so it was muddy. I found it muddy a lot of the time. Yeah,
that's fair.
You said that they sounded like they were playing in a snowdrift.
Yeah, and it's a very episodic piece of music. Absolutely,
it is episodic.
You can't really deny that. And in order for it to come off at all live, you have to have lived that piece repeatedly. And unfortunately, the artists tonight are too young to have lived that piece repeatedly. And so it just came off.
Well, the orchestra
You blamed Sibelius. I blamed the performers, but we both agreed it was kind of boring.
It was a lackluster performance, and it's just not. There's not enough development in it to me. To me, it's more like almost like a three-movement rhapsody for violin. It's less of a concerto because there's not really much in the way of concerted playing in it, and there's not the sense of dialogue in it that lends itself to the idea of a concerto.
Now, I'll say last time I heard it at San Diego Symphony with Migra, I can't remember her name, and Karen Gomyos was the violinist, so female conductor, female soloist. I was over the moon. I was deeply moved by that performance. And tonight, I was just
now the young Nancy Zhu, the violinist, as a young artist, look, her intonation was fine.
It was fine.
I may have detected one note that I thought was a little underpitched, but it wasn't like a featured moment. It was in passing. I thought she managed the runs and the staccato thirds, ascending, and the octaves very well. Is her tone?
The tone did not impress me.
Well,
that's not to say it was bad, but it did not impress me.
Well, let me put it to you this way: I was reacting more to her tone than I was to the tone of the orchestra.
Wow.
So, because there wasn't any tone in the orchestra,
well, I think they were trying to tone it down because of perhaps.
Well, perhaps they were, but they lost in toning it down. You can't lose definition. There was no energy in the orchestral accompaniment to that concerto,
and that is
all.
Also. I mean, it's a hard thing to pull off the Sibelius Violin Concerto, because when they got a chance to let it go, they did let it go.
They let it go, but
it was almost like we gotta play.
Well, yeah,
and then it goes, and then Sibelius takes a break,
and then so we're left wondering, how much responsibility do we assign to this to the conductor? Mm-hmm. What's her name?
I don't know. Kim. Maestro Kim.
Maestro Kim, the artistic director of the San Francisco Opera.
Music director
of the principal music director of the San Francisco Opera.
Yeah.
Well, there was little in that performance to allow her to demonstrate any command over the orchestra. It was flaccid. Mm-hmm. It was just like.
It was like a ship trapped in an ice fjord. Like ships get trapped when the ocean freezes around them.
But it wasn't that the ocean was frozen around it. It was just mired in slush.
Yeah.
So that was not really, I think, an adequate representation of the Sibelius Violin Concerto. However, all kudos to young.
It's a start.
It's a start.
It's a start.
She played the concerto. I thought that her part stood out from the troubles of the orchestra better. She obviously has control over an entire concerto of the most difficult nature in a very large hall.
This reminds
good for you.
me. This brings up a point to me.
I think there's someplace for it to go.
Here's an idea. We criticize young singers for taking on roles that are beyond their means. Should we or should we not criticize young instrumentalists for taking on solo parts that are beyond their means?
Well,
because if a 21-year-old tried to sing Otello, we would be all over him for being inappropriate. Is it possible that you, as a 21-year-old, shouldn't be playing the Sibelius Violin Concerto yet?
Or should you be playing it in a 2,500-seat hall? Should you perhaps be playing it in a 1,500-seat hall?
Well, I don't think the size of the hall would have made any difference. It would have been a little more present, but we've had other violinists be quite present in that hall. Like right here.
Yeah.
Recently. I'm not going to get into comparing violinists.
Right.
Here.
Well, it could be.
Yeah, it's just a thought. We jump on opera singers for taking on roles that are too big for them at too young an age. Should we also critique instrumentalists for taking on concertos that are too big for them?
Or should she have been enlisted as an emerging artist?
That's
which I think would be fair.
She is an emerging artist,
and she is an emerging artist. I mean, clearly.
Yeah.
So things to think about. In the wake of an unsatisfying performance of the
Not
Sibelius.
Every single look. We were on the mountaintop after Beethoven's Sixth, and then we went to like the next peak with the Shostakovich 11th, and now we're off the mountaintop. So it's just the way things go. Not everything can be a peak experience.
No, but that was a poorly programmed.
It dropped off pretty quickly.
poorly programmed selection.
Yeah.
The first half of the concert was unfortunate. The second half of the concert, however, I thought was much more satisfying in some ways.
Yes.
Which is to say, the orchestra played a hell of a lot better.
Yep.
Maestro Kim conducted a hell of a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
She actually got physical with the part, demonstrated something more than just,
drum
majoring,
yeah.
and got into the sweep of the Rachmaninoff Third Symphony.
Yeah, it's strange.
Well, it's not. Look. Rachmaninoff, like you said,
yeah.
Rachmaninoff was a 6.5 foot tall Russian frown.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not.
Actually, Stravinsky said that.
Well, okay. So I listened to this piece beforehand, and then I listened to it again.
I did too, as well. We both listened to the same one.
And yes, we listened to Ormandy. Who was conducting the Philadelphia Orchestra, who were the first performers of the symphony, Stokowski and the Philadelphia.
Rachmaninoff in Philadelphia, like this. They're tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right after the premiere of the Rhapsody on a Theme of Paganini, they went straight down to Camden and recorded it.
Ah, yeah.
Straight down. I mean, it was like within the week they recorded it. So this symphony, Rachmaninoff, we expect the second and third piano concertos, or
the third movement of the second symphony, which is
yeah,
it's orgasmic. It is. I'm sorry, there's not a better word. Well, that's the piano concerto. Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, can there be anything more Russian? You know, that's like that's the tortured Russian soul.
Yes.
Now,
yes, the brooding. Life is hard.
So
it's dark most of the year.
Right.
The czars are in charge, and then Stalin. It's terrible. Rachmaninoff. Here's some.
But my art flourishes because I have a Russian soul.
Yes,
and I feel
the beauty of the Slavic soul shines through the darkness.
Now, that is not the Third Symphony. Written 20 years after the Second Symphony. Yeah. What do we get? We get, in my opinion, postcards from America. The wonderful time I had at Hoover Dam, you know, what looking at, and here we are in the Turbine Hall, and isn't it glorious? And everything's moving forward.
Yep. And next the Grand Canyon.
And the Grand Canyon, and I
not the Grophy.
And I got to hear some of Eric Korngold's music in Hollywood. You know, when he was writing for Errol Flynn, that was fun.
Yeah.
And by the way, you know, here's a little bit of The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Disney did that, you know, with Mickey Mouse. I enjoyed that. And then also
I just saw Gone with the Wind.
Maybe a little Delius as well, you know, in there just in the beginning, just for, you know, some English impressionism. I went through London on the way to America, and then. But boy, the West is pretty, and then I met some Russians in Los Angeles, and then when I got home in the third movement, I wrote a fugue because I'm back in German-speaking countries. But then I heard the distant drums of Nazism on the other side of the border. But things are still okay here in Switzerland, so I'm going to finish this on an upbeat. And isn't this the wonderful mechanized 1930s?
Yeah. That's what you're saying in a very artistic way, is that it was not Rachmaninoff's true voice.
No.
And that's why it's only been performed once ever. This is the second time ever the San Diego Symphony has performed it. And there's a reason.
But
not every great composer writes truthfully every single time.
No.
There are pieces of music by...
Well, you mentioned Manfred by Tchaikovsky.
The Manfred Symphony by Tchaikovsky. It's just forgotten.
You know? And this is a curiosity. It's not that it's a bad piece of music.
No,
it's actually quite entertaining.
But it's just strange.
It's so full of Hollywoodisms harmonically. It's a film. It sounds like
it's trying to be something.
It's trying to be something. It really is a travel log. I think it should be shown with projections of great features of the American National Park Service and. You know, various covers of Life magazine and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's having said that, the orchestra played it really well.
Yeah,
they except for the trumpet.
We've got a trumpet problem.
We've got a trumpet problem here.
We can't not say it,
guys. That was not together.
Not saying it. The Mahler Fifth was not clean. The Shostakovich 11 was not clean. Aida was not clean. And this was not clean. There is a trumpet problem.
You're playing in the lower octave, and it's just...
I'm sorry.
The beat could not be clearer. You know,
it was very clear.
It was very, very clear. So it was late, it was behind, and then it got ragged. And it's... come on.
Yeah,
come on.
In the second movement,
there was no reason for that to happen. So...
Yeah,
and we were forgiving. We were forgiving about the Shostakovich because
it was so fantastic.
There were stubbed toes in that, in the brass section, and also then dropping mutes and things like that. I was like, okay, crap happens.
Yeah,
because your performance overall was so good.
Yeah.
That
it didn't
stuff
matter.
Like that
it literally did
not matter.
Yeah.
This matters though.
Yeah,
that really brought down the only redeeming feature of this evening, which was the performance.
Mm-hmm.
That piece musically is peculiar.
Yeah.
The first half was disastrous. The
just
well, the concerto was unsatisfying. The claptrap was disastrous. So we could have actually gotten a lot back out of this, and then there was that. It's like, come on.
What did I say before we should start recording our pregame? I said, oh, we're gonna have a bit of nonsense before the Sibelius. Okay. Let me hear it.
It sure was. So maybe
it's based on ping pong. You say that it's about ping pong.
Guys, can I just
ask Mahler-sized orchestra to play some ping pong?
Can I just ask for the overture to Matthias der Mahler instead? I mean, I'll take that. Sure. If I can't get Vaughan Williams, I'll take Hindemith.
Yeah, or On the Banks of Green Willow.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
How about what's the Delius? The two.
On Hearing the First Cuckoo in Spring.
Well, there's that, but there's the two small tone poems.
Summer Night on the River.
No, they're actually called small tone.
Oh,
poems.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
they're great.
Oh, I'm a big Delius fan. Summer Night on the River is a wonderful little piece.
Yeah.
You had an interesting suggestion, though. You said, I'd like to hear a modern composer, a living composer, write for a classical orchestra.
Yep.
Right?
Nowhere to hide.
Nowhere to hide, and no hiding behind percussion either.
Yep. No
Stop
drum
playing percussion on every single beat of the piece.
No drum kit. No 3 trombones. No 4 trumpets. No 5 horns. 2 horns. Maybe you can have a
percussion.
Trombone.
Is not a satisfying soloistic instrument like when you had the percussion concerto here, as you said, because you can't crescendo it on any single note. It's not like a wind instrument or a string instrument.
Or
it has only one direction to go, and that's diminuendo.
Yeah, you hit it and it
dies.
Decays. You have to keep hitting it,
and that becomes annoying.
It just becomes,
that's like a woodpecker, on your bedpost in the middle of the night.
Yeah, or a 3-year-old with a hammer.
Yeah, that's why parents don't give their kids drum sets at Christmas.
Yeah,
I got one once. It disappeared within about a day and a half.
Yeah, so look at us. We went from fanboys to curmudgeons.
Well,
like that.
Look, I mean, like I said, the Rachmaninoff was entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would, even though I came to understand it through the performance. Oh, that's what this is,
right? Because
it sure as hell ain't Rachmaninoff.
Yeah. Boy, those poor kids.
Rachmaninoff and Horowitz used to get together at Horowitz's house or rather, Horowitz used to go to Rachmaninoff's house in Hollywood, and the two of them would drink and cry.
Sure.
About Russia.
Yeah.
They just cry.
Russians love Russia.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So
I've never been to Russia, but I love Russian culture. Yeah. Right. 6.5-foot frown.
6.5-foot frown. I like him better when he's frowning.
Mm-hmm. There's no pictures of him smiling that I've ever seen.
Well, he sort of has a bland look at the camera.
Yeah.
But
all right.
There we go. That's the results of tonight's concert going, and it was but however, coming up.
Oh my gosh.
Coming up.
So we have some March 28th, the weekend of March 28th. We have some nonsense, and then Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony with
Payaret,
our music director. But then, oh my God, April 2nd and 3rd, or 3rd and 4th. First weekend in April, Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto No. 3. Much different. And Shostakovich
And the
Symphony No.
Shostakovich 5. Oh my goodness! If the Shostakovich 11th was anything to go by,
Yeah.
and I said this,
And I believe it is.
and I believe it is, that is going to lift the roof off Symphony Hall.
It's going to be
our audience should be ecstatic.
Yes.
After that, I literally.
You know what they should have?
Can't
Donation
wait.
boxes at the end of that.
Yeah, they really should. There should be a free will offering at the end as well.
I love offering.
It's like, for tips for the orchestra, And by the way, this is our gift to you for that.
Yeah.
Because that's how good that's how good the 11th was.
Yeah. And interestingly, our Russian culture classes will have just concluded at the La Jolla Community Center.
That's right.
Yeah. So maybe we'll take the class. We'll have a little field trip.
That's right. I think we're going to probably sell some tickets for that. Don't miss that.
Yeah.
And
I don't think we can over anticipate that one.
I don't think, quite frankly, I don't think so either. I was talking to a good musical friend through Facebook. And I asked her if she saw that concert, and she said no.
The
she said I didn't.
11?
Yeah, she said my tickets didn't include that that day. I said you missed something very, very special. I said I seriously considered
going back on
Sunday.
Trying to get down here.
Trying to go down to like the Sprint shop and get like some kind of special mic for my phone, and going back and pirating it. Just I said I was for posterity. I said because I was so consumed. I was suddenly like in my opera fan mode.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to go out and be a fanatic for Sutherland or something.
Right.
Guys, it was that good.
Yeah.
I was reduced to pure fan mode.
Yep.
And I, as it happens, I couldn't go back, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I said on the way down to the concert, I said in the car, you will recall me saying,
yes,
if they play like this on a regular basis under Payare with that level, and they just fix the stubbed toes and get past that, this orchestra's reputation is going to ascend. They will become an international presence because that quality of music playing cannot be denied.
Absolutely.
It's as good as anything you will hear anywhere.
Yeah. Completely concur.
I lived in London for 10 years. I heard all the orchestras all the time. So I'm telling you, when you can't tell what major city you're in, that you're getting something good.
Yeah.
And you will deserve a recording contract, not like the old Yoav Talmy days where it was nice to record some Berlioz overtures, and
right.
That was nice, but it wasn't.
It was nice.
It was nice.
No.
This would be worth preserving.
Yeah.
Classical Rebellion.